Hi, it's Paul. Let's look at just a benign follicular pattern that's seen in thyroid. Just a reminder of what histology of benign thyroid looks like. So it's made up of all these different follicles of varying size, so some quite small ones to quite large ones, lined by follicular cells, and inside them is colloid. That's this pink material. And so when we sample them, we sample a lot of colloid usually, as well as follicular cells. The colloid in this case is really quite thick and wrinkly. It's looking a bit like, I don't know, nail varnish or something. You can see the little follicular cells here in the background. But we've got lots and lots of colloid. More follicular cells in little groupings. So these will often come out as whole follicles, so rounded shapes. But sometimes if they're larger, they will flatten out into sheets. So you can see the rounded follicular shape here if you use your imagination. And you'll notice they're varying a little bit in size. The colloid's really quite thick in this case. A few more scattered follicular cells. Here, a couple of little whole follicles. See that rounded appearance to them? This is the pap, and the colloid's looking like a really thick nail polish here. We have some macrophages in the background, and then follicular cells. So see them arranged in little round follicles, as well as being dispersed. It's another rounded group. More little follicles. And then here I have coming into view a big follicle. So this is what I would call a macro follicle. It's been sucked out pretty whole. But adjacent to it, notice that there are follicles that are smaller as well. And when you look in it, it's got sort of rounded follicular shapes in it as well. Here's a larger tissue fragment, again showing varied sized follicles. So this fits really with the histology that we were looking at earlier. And you can see sometimes the sheets get flattened out like this. Large fragments. This is another case. In this area there's less abundant colloid, but great variation in follicular size. So notice we've got big ones, small ones, and in between. So notice I'm not really even looking at the nuclear detail here. I'm more interested in the architecture of the pattern that's being produced. This is another slide, and you can see a large fragment here, and notice how you can see the follicles quite nicely. They've been sucked out. The bluish material is colloid in the background, and there's also colloid within those follicles as well. But you can see there's really nice variation in size of them. Here's a follicle with colloid inside it. And these cells are fairly fragile, so you'll always get single nuclei as well that have been stripped of their cytoplasm and they're not present in a follicular pattern anymore. It's important to differentiate them from lymphocytes. Notice they don't have that crescent rim of cytoplasm around them, and you'll be able to link them back to the actual cells that are definitely epithelial, forming cohesive groups. And so in summary, the typical benign follicular pattern that we see consists of abundant colloid. That can vary a little bit in terms of how thick or thin it is, and then variably sized follicles of follicular cells. So that variation in size is important. Identifying macro follicles is always reassuring that you're dealing with a benign lesion.